Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be reading the July 2023 book club pick for the Lazy Book Club, which is of course The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I have been putting this off. I'm sorry, this is so much later than I normally like to post the book club picks, the videos, but I have been putting this off because I have such high expectations for Riley Sager books that I'm always just like staring at it and I'm like, do I want to read this now? And the answer is normally no. But I've been hearing really good things about this book. The only thing that I've really heard is that it's good, it's a solid thriller, and that there's a ton of twists and turns and stuff happening. So really excited about that. I'm curious how many I'll be able to predict, because normally I'm not like the best at predicting things, although I feel like I've been better lately. I feel like I've been a lot better lately. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to get into this story. If you've never watched one of these, the Lazy Book Club videos, these are full spoiler reviews. This is it's more interactive, so I ask that you guys go read this first and then you watch, because as I'm reading it, I'm telling you what I'm thinking, what's going on, etc. So there is no point in this video that there are no spoilers. This is full spoilers as we're going along, predictions, etc. So it's fun. I really like filming these videos because it's very unfiltered. I can say whatever, I can guess anything that I want. It's really fun compared to just reading something saying, hey, it was good, I like the twist, etc. This is full breakdown of my thoughts and what I think is happening as we go along. So very excited to start this one, especially the Riley Sager. I really wanted to do a thriller mystery for one of these because it's just, yeah, it sounds really fun. Anyway, like I said, without further ado, let's get into the reading vlog. All right, I officially have my first update for our book, The Only One Left. I've read about 50 pages. And I do definitely have some initial thoughts. I feel like when it comes to mystery and thrillers, I feel like sometimes the first 50 to 100 pages are like the most important if you want to try and solve it. I feel like really good mystery thriller writers will often put everything you need in the first 50 to 100 pages to solve the actual murder. So I'm just like, did they do it? Because I definitely have some feelings about things, but there's also could be like a bunch of red herring setups. So I have my trusty little like, it's not electronic, it's just like a sensory board thing that you can write just with like pressure. They're really fun. So anyway, my thoughts are Mrs. Baker. So far we've been introduced to like our main caregiver, who is not a nurse and who had an accident with a patient, which clearly I'm pretty sure was not an accident. I'm pretty sure she helped the patient unalive themselves, and because of the pain that the patient was in. Pretty sure that's how it was. So I feel like that's pretty obvious, but I don't feel like that's necessarily supposed to be that shocking. And then we've been introduced obviously to the woman that she's going to be taking care of, who is the supposed murderer from way back when, who I don't think murdered the family. Right now, only 50 pages in, obviously I've already solved everything. I'm pretty sure Mrs. Baker, the housekeeper, the main housekeeper, I want to say that she's the one who murdered the family, and she's been keeping her thumb on Lenora ever since. And I'm like, because they already mentioned that she had a fiance that died after this incident. So I'm like, is that it? Like, is it gonna be that simple? I feel like it's never that simple with Riley Sager though. So I'm really curious about that. So yeah, I said Mrs. Baker's fiance died after the Hope family murder, which is sus. It's very sus. So that's a lot of people dying around you. And then I thought it was really weird that Lenora never goes outside, like, for anything. And Mrs. Baker is very adamant about her never going outside. So that also is very suspicious. And she says she's the one who runs everything. I doubt Lenora even cares if the staff wears those stupid uniforms and acts like everything's in the past. So I feel like Mrs. Baker is setting everything up. So that's kind of where I am with that right now. And I'm curious how it's going to progress and if that's just like a big immediate red herring kind of thing going on. So I'm interested. It's different, I feel like, than his previous story so far, so that's good. And I am intrigued to see where the story is gonna go. I am looking a little ragged this morning. I just woke up and I am putting on workout clothes to walk on my treadmill. I got this treadmill back in March, and then all of my like medical stuff picked up, and then I just stopped walking on my treadmill, and I need to just start walking on it again because it's not gonna make anything worse. I don't like, do you know your brain, like when you get sick, it's just like, ugh, I don't want to do anything. It's like the same thing with chronic conditions. When you have a flare-up of something, your brain is just like, I'm not doing anything. Are you kidding me? It's gonna make everything worse. So I just need to like chill out. And I've been feeling better these past 3 days. Past 3 days have actually been pretty good. So I've at least got a little bit of a reprieve if it like sets back off again. But yeah, I'm gonna walk on my treadmill this morning. But I worked last night, which is why I'm looking a little rough. I did listen to the book a lot last night. So I got up to like 144 pages. And I don't know how I'm feeling about it so far. I've got to be honest, but like I'm kind of hoping it's the situation I had with what is it? The Last Time I Lied? That's the one that's like really popular. That's the one at the summer camp, I think. That one I really didn't like most of the book, but the ending was so good that I ended up giving it a 5-star, which is like the only book that's ever happened. Most of the time, if I don't like the rest of the book, I'll downgrade it a whole star. But that ending was just so good on that Riley Sager that I ended up giving it a 5-star, and I loved it. But I'm kind of having the same issues with this one as I had with The Last Time I Lied, where I'm just really not jiving with the story that much. So like I just got past the part where they found Mary's body, and now they're like trying to figure out if it was her unaliving herself or if someone else did it. I mean, I'm still sticking with my theory that the house manager did it. What is her name? Is it Mrs. Baker? I don't remember what her name is. Mrs. Bates, Mrs. Baker. But yeah, I'm still thinking she did it because I feel like she's the common thread. But I'm also thinking she's now a red herring because they just caught her, our main character Kit just caught her in a lie. So I'm like, because she told Kit that she left after the family died, and then she told someone else who was here that she left before they died. So I'm like, I don't know. And then we just found out about the Ricardo and Lenora end up having an affair, it seemed like. Ricky, she calls him Ricky. And he also went missing, and his wife is still around, but he went missing, never to show back up again. So I really think it's like the housemaid covering up a bunch of stuff. I also think Lenora did kill somebody, but not her parents. I think she killed the sister. So I think Lenora killed the sister, but the housekeeper killed the parents. And also, I feel like it's got to be the housekeeper who was the one having the affair with the dad that Lenora caught. So I don't know. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like the housekeeper is definitely involved in all these disappearances, trying to, like, keep the estate together, and is drugging Lenora. I do think that somebody is drugging Lenora and that she actually has full faculties, but somebody's drugging her to keep her quiet and unable to move. So I don't know though. But again, I don't know. Like, I'm just not super compelled by the story. I'm kind of bored. It feels like it's just taking a really long time. So I don't know. I really, really hope it picks up soon because it's really hard getting through this one. And normally with Riley Sager books, I'm like, I fly through them no matter how I'm feeling. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna obviously read a bunch today. I feel like that is my plan today, is just to read. And I do have to clean. My mom is coming to visit tomorrow, which is super exciting. So I actually really do need to finish this today because I'm not gonna have any time to read over the next couple of days. Because I also am picking up, I've kind of gotten back into a reading mood because I felt better the past 3 days. I'm also trying to read the second book in the Daughter of the Moon Goddess series, which not liking as much as the first one. I feel like this was a book I should have read immediately after the first one because it's just not working as well that I have like a couple months in between reading the first one. So, but anyway, reading The Only One Left. Not sure how I feel about it. Still have the same prediction that I had at the beginning. Feels a bit funky, but we're gonna see what happens. Okay, so I'm at page 260. I've been listening to it a lot tonight while coloring. And then I also physically read a little bit this morning, but I'm actually really enjoying the audiobook, so I'm probably gonna finish this with the audiobook. And I may be able to finish it tonight. I don't know. It just depends how tired I am. So I do have an update. I wanted to update and get some, like, I have some thoughts. I am enjoying it much more, and I also, so I still think it's Mrs. Baker. But I have updated what I think about what's going on. I kind of want to say that Mrs. Baker is potentially Lenora's sister, and that Lenora's sister, I think Virginia, is faking being Mrs. Baker, because a big difference between the past and the current day is it was Miss Baker then, and now they refer to her as Mrs. Baker, but they talk about how she was never married. So I feel like that's just like a little thing, but I feel like that's something that could be really important. I also just, I have a feeling like the staff isn't who they say they are. Like, they're different members of the staff than who they're pretending to be, because we also haven't seen the detective in the same room as Kit and everybody else, because the detective said he worked there at one point, so he would know if people aren't who they say they are. And I feel like that's how we're gonna get the reveal, is like the detective's gonna come, Kit's gonna say something, and he's gonna be like, that's not who that is. I don't know though. I feel like that's too difficult, but I feel like that's on par for like what would happen in a story like this, because this is taking place in the past where there's no like social media. You can't look people up what they look like now like you can do like now. It's way easier to get away with like switching identities back then if you're just like doing it like not fingerprints or anything like that. But that's why I feel like it's the sister, and the sister is drugging Lenora and keeping her down, and potentially Lenora did kill the family, or the sister killed the family. I still don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, part of me really thinks that Mrs. Baker is actually Virginia, the sister, and that's kind of like my biggest thing. I don't know though, but that's kind of like my update. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I wanted to update before like anything was revealed, because I have heard there are like a bunch of twists in this, so I didn't want to like get to one and then yeah. But where I'm at in the story right now is Kit thought she was being fired because she let Lenora outside, and we just found out that she did have a baby boy, etc. So that's kind of where we're at, and I just really want to know what happens at this point. I really want to know where the story is going. And normally I don't like pregnancy stories, but this one's actually done really well, and it's actually working really well with the mystery. So yeah, it's weirdly enjoyable, even though I normally don't like that. So yeah, again, gonna continue listening to the book. I am enjoying it much more than I was before. It's still a slower Riley Sager, but it's definitely more like chill. Like it's definitely more, I feel like, his first couple books, similar to those. Not Lock Every Door. Lock Every Door was way different, but I feel like it's definitely more on par with like Final Girls and Last Time I Lied, and just those early on ones that are less weird and more like kind of straightforward. So we're gonna see what happens. There's a lot to talk about. I feel like everything is pretty straightforward, but like there's not gonna be like a ton of discussion other than if you liked it, if you liked the millions of twists, what you rated it, etc. But like, what? I got lost for a second at the end of this because there was so much happening. But yeah, finish the book. I'm gonna start with my star rating before we get into the breakdown of this ending of this book. So star rating, originally was gonna 3.5, because I was kind of bored during the story. I like the idea behind this. It's like you're being told a story slowly with like little pieces being given to you along the way. However, I really didn't like the main character. This is like my least favorite female character that Riley Sager's written. She was just kind of meh. Like, there was nothing remotely interesting about Kit other than her backstory, but it's a backstory that's very generic at the same time. This is something that's in pretty much every medical drama, every even thriller drama. It's such a common thing with the backstory of the caretaker who leaves out medicine for a sick patient. It's just so common that it wasn't very compelling or interesting. It was very obvious what she did. The twist on that was interesting, but again, nothing like blew me out of the water with her story. But so I was gonna give it a 3.5, because up to that point I was just, I don't know, there was no huge emotional impact. When I read a Riley Sager, I expect to gasp. When I read thrillers in general, if I don't gasp, then it tends to be lower than a 5 because I want something that's just like completely shocks me or is just crazy. I don't know. I like popcorn thrillers and I like serious ones as well, but this definitely felt, I don't know, I just did not like this one as much as some of his other ones. But I did have the gasp moment at the very, very end. It just wasn't like enough to bring it to a 5, so I am giving it a 4. I'm giving it a 4 because I did enjoy the reading experience. The audiobook was really, really good. I think there were some really interesting things in this book. I just wish the main character had been done better because I did love Virginia's character. I thought that was really interesting how they did that, and I was surprised with that. So let's quickly go through the twists because there were quite a few of them. Like, it's like a list. It's like a list out of twists. So first we're going to start with how I feel like we got to start with Lenora is not Lenora, she's Virginia. So let's go through the ones I guess that I was kind of correct about. So I did think that Mrs. Baker was somebody else. I did not think Mrs. Baker was Mrs. Baker. So I did get that right. I did not see the fact that Mrs. Baker was Lenora and the woman in the chair was Virginia. I didn't think Virginia was dead, so I will give myself a point for that one. So I got Mrs. Baker was not Mrs. Baker correct. I got Virginia was still alive. I definitely thought she was still alive, but I was starting to think it was going to be like a Jane Eyre thing where Virginia was like locked up in the attic or something. And I was going to be like, don't love that. That was not the case, so I was happier with that. So anyway, I got those two. I figured that the paternity or the maternity test, paternity test was wrong. I didn't think that that kid was related whatsoever, so that was not really a twist, but it was one of the red herrings in the story. And then I was right about Virginia / Lenora being able to move. I really thought that she was able to move. Now, I thought it was because she was being drugged. That was not the case. It was just her faking it the whole time, which is what made me gasp. That definitely is what brought it up to a 4 because I was like, that is some dedication. That is some intense dedication, but it was there from the start. Like, you could tell that was what was going on because she's stronger than she seems. There's movement at night. All this, like, it's obvious that she could walk, but because they held on to it for so long through the story and just like made sure that you did not know until that last little bit, that's a good ending right there. That's a good twist ending because you think it the whole story. You're like, can she walk? Can she move? Like, what's going on? And then they dash all hope that she can move, and then they're like, boom, she can. And I was like, that was really well done. That was really, really well done. I think it's everything that I got correct-ish, because, like, obviously nothing I got, like, 100% accurate. So, the twist in the story, we're going to start with the fact that I loved that it was Virginia writing the letters and not Lenora, and that's why it was so confusing, because when they told us what happened, I was like, wait a minute, what? Wait, what? So my brain had to like adjust to the fact that it was Virginia talking and Lenora was kind of like the asshole sister. So that took me a second. Once I adjusted to that, everything kind of fell into place. So I love that it was Virginia that was the sister that was writing, and that's who she was actually taking care of. And that led to the pregnancy thing. I didn't love the addition of the pregnancy, but I do like how it resolved with Jessie being her granddaughter. That was another moment that I was like, oh. And that's why Jessie's kind of being suspicious about things and being super weird about certain things. But at the same time, Kit just like says, oh, it's just her personality kind of thing. Like, she's just, like, Jessie almost makes herself this ditzy character. So when you find out that she actually knew the whole time, you're like, of course she did. Of course she did. And then the big reveal with Mary being dead was really good. I mean, I feel like it's very obvious that she was dead the whole time. That's not really a twist. That was like she's really just dead. And then finding out that, the big one that I actually did not like that much was Kit's father being Ricky, the, like, father of the baby and Virginia's lover. I actually didn't like that. I don't know, something about that, it just didn't fit well with the story. I don't know what it was. It almost felt a little out of left field. It makes sense when you like read through what happened, but for me, it just didn't work that well. And I think that's also why it was only like a 3.5, because when it was revealed it was her father, I was kind of like, It's fine. It's fine. Not my favorite twist. Could have been something a little more interesting. Then I love the reveal about the whole murder sequence. Oh, and I didn't say it on camera because I just wanted to finish. I started getting the suspicion that the mother was the one who killed the dad. I didn't expect her to unalive herself. I didn't expect that. And then like make Ricky do it by antagonizing him. But I started having a feeling that the wife killed the dad. Because she hated him. She absolutely hated him. So I definitely started feeling that way. So I was actually kind of happy it was her. And I figured it wasn't Virginia. It was too early. Like the Lenora reveal was too early for it to be Lenora. So yeah, not surprising about that either. So I was like a little bit of a gasp when the wife did it, even though I kind of suspected it. And then of course, the very, very end, we had Virginia just get up and leave a note saying I tricked everybody. And I was like, and I love the very, very last thing where it says Lenora died at 101 and her survived by her traveling companion Kit. And I was like, I loved that part. I loved that. So that's kind of the roundup for all of the twists. There were quite a few. There was a lot happening in this book. And I think it was entertaining. I think this book set out to be entertaining, and it was entertaining. Do I think it was like a revolutionary story or thriller like I think some of his books are? Like Last Time I Lied. I loved Final Girls. I know that one's not that good, but it was my first Riley Sager, so I'm always gonna like that one a lot. So I wouldn't say this was anything like amazing, but it was highly entertaining. Like I said, audiobook is really, really good. I would highly suggest that. Yeah, it was just kind of a fun time. I don't really have that much discussion about it other than like, did you guys like it? What twists did you like? Which ones did you not like? Which ones did you guess as you were going on? Which ones did you not see coming whatsoever? What you would have maybe changed in the book, or what to you, if there's anything that didn't make like a lot of sense. Like again, to me, the dad doing it, I was just kind of about that. Oh, and then the dad, I forgot the twist with the dad helping the mom unalive herself, which again is not really that surprising. I didn't see it coming 100%, but it does make sense with how he was acting. Yeah, really, this one doesn't lead to, I feel like, that much discussion just because it's very cut and dry. I feel like some Riley Sagers, there's a moment where you're like, oh, but this one's very, this is what happened. Do you think that Virginia could really fake being like that for that long? Like, I don't know. That was a little unbelievable because, oh my gosh, that would take some willpower. I don't know. And what do you think about Lenora and the dad dying in the house at the end? I was a little sad about Lenora dying because I felt kind of bad for her character in the way that she was a brat. She was a brat, but she also was a bastard in the family, which really sucks. Obviously the dad liked Virginia way more than Lenora. However, obviously like she locked her in a room for Lenora's own gain, which is terrible. But when it came down to it, it did seem Lenora regretted having the child taken away. But like, I feel like Virginia said she was punishing her for all that stuff, but it was like, Lenora was also a kid. Lenora was 17 years old too. And I think she was 17. And her father told her to do something and was going to kick her out of the house. And back then, like, what was she going to do? There was nowhere for her to go. So I don't know if I can 100% like blame Lenora for the child situation because Lenora was a kid. She didn't have any power in that situation either. So I don't know how I feel about Virginia punishing her for 50 years. That's like my biggest thing about the story is I don't know how I feel about that because Lenora does seem like not a good person, like at all. But it also seemed like Lenora was trying to keep her safe for, I don't know. Because at the same time, she took over someone else's identity and left Virginia to go do her own thing. But at the same time, like, I don't know. So I'm so torn about that. So anyway, kind of like the biggest thing I'm torn about is Lenora's character. I don't know how I should feel about her character because part of me thinks, yeah, she probably should have just went and lived her own life. But at the same time, she had Virginia to care for, who she did like set all this kind of in motion. But also, I don't know. She was a kid at the time. So I don't know. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this book. It was a fun read. It's kind of put me back into a reading mood. So I've been reading some other stuff, which is cool. And this is actually my first read of August, which is what is it? August 9th? It's not going great. It's not going great. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about this book, and if you liked it, if you didn't like it, star rating, all the things I talked about. And we are now in, what is it, August? Our August book is Trust in the Emerald Sea, which I totally forgot about. So we have that to read in August. Really excited to start that one. I think it's gonna be really fun. I don't know where I put it. I don't know where I put it. I thought I had it right next to me, but I do not see it, so I cannot hold it up. But yeah, Trust in the Emerald Sea for August. Really excited to read that one. So get started on that one. That one's probably gonna take me a while, so I might start that relatively soon compared to when I normally start them. And yeah, so that's everything that I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this book and this edition of the book club, and I'll see you guys in the next video.